Paul calls the ecclesia a mystery. The prophets couldn't even see it. That one day there would be one new man, people made up of every tongue, tribe, and religion from all over the world, that they would worship the Jewish Messiah together. But as they passed this council, I don't think they had a vote, they more prayed and they got the mind of the Holy Spirit. But as they write this letter and they send it to the churches, saying that Gentiles do not have to become Jewish in order to believe in Jesus, as they do this, it never enters their mind that one day there would be a church that not just accepts Gentiles without becoming Jewish, but excludes Jews, that tells the Jewish bishops you're not welcome, that hates the Jewish people, that doesn't have God's heart for the Jewish people. And so that's what's happening. You have this most significant church council deciding on the divinity of Jewish, the day that they would celebrate the resurrection of the Messiah, and they don't even invite the 120 Jewish bishops. That's almost 10%, 7 or 8% of the total amount of bishops. Okay, so how do we conclude this? Well, number one, we have to celebrate Nicaea. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Nicaea was consequential with its powerful Christology, its revelation that Yeshua is absolutely part of the Godhead. He is the Son of God, but He is also God in the flesh. But on the other hand, we have to be honest and say it was also very anti-Semitic. And the de-Judaizing of the New Covenant, or the de-Judaizing of the church, ethnically cleansing the New Testament of its Jewish roots, that's what they did. It was consequential as well. It led to 1,600 years of Christian anti-Semitism. It led to Augustine coming up with the idea of the Jews' only purpose on earth is to be a witness to the church or to the world of the church's triumph over the synagogue. Or Martin Luther writing his famous diatribe against the Jews. He wrote a whole book called The Jews and Their Lies. So on the one hand, he's a father of the Reformation. Good things came from Martin Luther. But he also, on the backs of the Nicene Creed, or rather the Nicene Council, he embraces that anti-Semitism. John Chrysostom said it was every Christian's duty to hate the Jew. Now imagine if at Nicaea they had a different revelation. They took the book of Romans and they said, look, here is the Jewish apostle Paul. And he is saying he's willing to trade his own salvation if only the Jewish people would believe. Here's Paul saying, has Israel been rejected? By no means. Salvation has come to the church or to the Gentiles in order to provoke Israel to jealousy. Had they read his warnings in Romans 11, where he said, if you judge the Jewish people too harshly, God can break you off from the same olive tree. Had they taken Paul's warnings to heart, imagine if at Nicaea, instead of turning against the Jewish people, they said, let's believe God for the salvation of the physical brothers of Jesus. Well, we can imagine, but it didn't happen. But something new is happening. Really, since the Holocaust, in the scholarly world, there was a real shift after the Holocaust. And rightly so. Even a fallen human being, when you look at the Holocaust, it's just horrendous. And again, most scholars did not think that the Nazis were Christian, but they began to understand that it was 1,600 years, 1,700 years of Christian anti-Semitism that really gave Hitler the mandate, that got an entire country to follow him into this. And so not only Christian scholars, but Jewish scholars have recently, in the past, I would say in the past since the Holocaust, but even more so in the past 40 years, have suddenly begun to rediscover the Jewishness of Jesus. And thank God, believers everywhere, like you watching, wherever you are all over the world, have suddenly come into this appreciation for the Jewish roots in the New Testament, for the Jewish heritage of Jesus. Well, I got news for you. You're unique in world history. Now, thank God there are more and more people today, more and more believers praying for Israel, more and more believers who believe it is their mandate to intercede for the Jewish people in the same way that the Jewish people brought the Messiah. It would be the believers from the nations that would see revival birthed here in Israel. You're unique in world history because for the first 1900 years, for the most part, the church was extremely anti-Jewish and then ultimately anti-Semitic. Well, thank God that there's been a shift. Thank God that things are changing. But it is important that we connect with history. It's important that we know the history. Kanye West basically coming against the entirety of Jewish people all over the world for whatever he's encountered in the music industry through certain Jewish individuals. That is classic anti-Semitism. We cannot give in to that. We must resist it, and we must speak out, and we must tell our friends, because it's going to grow and grow and grow. There will be more violence against the Jewish people. In fact, in 2021, the rise in anti-Semitic acts in America was up, I think, 34% from the year before. And it was the highest in recorded American history. Friends, this is a real issue. And as much as I love social media, and you're watching this on social media, the enemy is using social media to fuel anti-Semitism. So you have a role to play. You know the history, but now you have a role to play. Share this broadcast. Please share this broadcast and get educated regarding the history and share it with your friends.